Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Tracerco podcast. I'm Rob Hardy in the UK, and I'm joined, as usual, by Bill Rivers in the USA. How are you doing, Bill? You okay?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, Rob? How's it going?
Yeah, good. We're into the final episode of Series 2. And I think we have a question from the previous Discovery episode, don't we?
Yeah. Hang on just 1 second. Let me grab it it came in from Jim, directed towards Jim from our last podcast on Discovery. It says, since the development of Discovery, how many pipelines have been inspected, and are there any future developments in the technology?
Yeah, okay. So I think overall we've inspected more than 100 pipelines. A lot of that work has been focused around Gulf of Mexico, North Sea, West Africa. And then in terms of development, fast screening has been something that's been developed recently. So the ability to screen pipelines quicker, to look for defects really quickly, identify areas that have no defects and move on from those, but also pick up on areas that have problems, then scan them in more depth and get a more full CT type imaging scan on those. But again, we're always interested in developing the technology. So if people have things they want to see, if they want to scan larger diameter pipelines or more complex arrays and that sort of thing, we're always looking at potential partnerships and potential development projects as well. So, but yeah, I'm sure Jim can answer it in much more detail as well if that person wants to speak to him as well. Yeah,
it's a good question.
Okay. Yeah, good question. Thank you. So yeah, on to today's episode. So we've spoken a lot in the past about our process diagnostic services, but this is an interesting episode because we're going to talk a bit more about real-time data. There's a lot of buzz in the industry about Plant 4.0 and digital twins and this sort of thing. So I think it's really exciting, the stuff we're going to talk about today and how that can feed into this sort of real-time monitoring aspect. So we're going to talk about our products that are fixed and permanently installed into processes, and how we can do things like level monitoring, looking at liquid interfaces, and where the phase separations are as well. So I'd like to bring in Eric Graham. Hi, Eric. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today? Thank you for the invite.
No problem. It's good to have you here. So I guess to kick off, do you want to just give us a bit of background on yourself and your role within Tracerco?
Brief background. I started in Tracerco 15 years ago, and I started as a process diagnostics field engineer. After 4 years, I moved into the process diagnostics technical advisor role for Central Region US. And then an opportunity came up to move into SM as the North American SM commercial manager, global commercial manager role for SM. I moved back into a regional role as the downstream commercial manager for the US. That would cover PD and SM. Regarding my time in SM, it's definitely been enjoyable. A lot to learn. We've got a really good product offering that offers solutions to our customers, but the most enjoyable part is how we're able to take everything we've learned from other business units and incorporate it into our instruments. Have a product offering that no one else has.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick step back. Explain to our audience, what is SM? What do you, as the commercial manager, what products are you bringing to the table for all our folks out there that are listening?
Well, essentially, when we were founded, we were basically founded as a diagnostic company, which gives our customers a snapshot of what is happening at a particular time in their process. What SM does is SM takes the same technologies, permanently fixed, allowing the customers to have real-time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, knowledge of what is happening in their process, whether it's understanding the purity based on density, understanding the level, which could control much of the process for these facilities, understanding where the various interface points are from a standpoint of whether or not chemicals need to be introduced, whether or not certain levels need to be reduced, an understanding of what is happening when process changes occur or feed changes are being introduced to the system, all in real time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week throughout their facilities, whether it's upstream, midstream, or downstream.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was going to ask, you just touched on it there, but could you just mention where the instruments could sit? So we've spoken a lot on this podcast about distillation columns and that sort of thing, but these instruments, they could really sit in the refinery. It could be on FPSO. It could even be subsea sometimes, couldn't it? So maybe you could just talk a little bit about the places you could find the instrumentation, maybe.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you think about basically from the ground to the gas pump, or however you want to look at it, cradle to the grave, however you want to think about the life cycle of oil or hydrocarbons or petrochemical as it comes from the ground and goes to the end user. We utilize fixed instruments, and I'm going to touch a little bit on monitors as well, because some of the first touch points of our instruments in this process lies in our mud monitors, which in effect are a bit of a fixed instrument. And these mud monitors are there to identify potential radioactive material that's coming back from the well that could tell them whether or not the drill head has been broken. And then from that standpoint, on the piping that leads to the initial storage facilities, we can establish density gauges that can give our customer an understanding of the contents. If there's water slugging, if the slugging is occurring, it can tell them when it happens, how much material is there, and how fast it's moving, so that they can begin to make process changes to minimize the impact of that slug. And then when you get to the first stage separations, we have profilers that are in use that can give them every single phase in media that's present inside of that separator. So they have an understanding of how much sand, water, emulsion, oil, and foam is present inside of the vessel independently 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as you move further downstream, you're able to determine what the purity of that oil is coming out of the pipe through density measurement as well. And from a midstream standpoint, when material is being transported, whether it's by pipeline or however it's being transported, we can have gauges installed to give the customer an understanding of what is happening. In the midstream system, they have problems of moisture and liquid buildup in low pockets. And many times those will slug, and our density gauges can capture that. Inside storage tanks, we can identify the phases in the storage tanks. And then once it gets into the refineries, we can be found in desalters, we can be found in separators, in the alky settlers, bottoms level in distillation towers. We've even put profilers within the trays of distillation towers to identify buildup in those locations. So they can be utilized in all aspects of refinery, petrochem, as well as mining, pulp and paper, pharmaceuticals. These are all areas where level, density, purity, this information is important to them.
My question to you was going to be, Eric. So now, what you're trying to tell us here is that you have an instrument for all occasions, right? Do you have just kind of give it an idea to our audience about, is there an instant out there where customers come to you and said, Eric, I've got this huge problem. These are the issues that we're having. What do you have on the shelf that you can come bring to us that could add instant value, instant savings to us?
Oh, there's, if we want to discuss off the shelf type items, we run into many circumstances where customers have situations where they cannot capture the information they need at specific times. But I think what you're asking is more for a long-term type of solution.
Correct.
for that, what we'll do is we'll go back to, it's an oldie, but it's still a goodie. At Tracerco, we pride ourselves on our foundation in development. And really, when you think about our development roots, they're the heart of the company. They're what give us the ability to truly be solutions providers. When they say if we don't have the solution, we'll invent it, we mean it. And the perfect example is the profiler. Now, we'll go to a scenario where the profiler was already in place, utilized upstream and separators, and was working fantastic, saving our customers millions, if not more. BP came to us and approached us with a problem that they had at the downstream sector. Do we have a technology that allows them to see inside of their desalter, to visualize what is happening? We're talking about a vessel where for decades our customers have run blind without a real understanding of what is happening inside of the vessel. But we were posed with a couple of problems. How do we mitigate the temperature that desalters operate at? How do we take care of the fact that many times the delta between oil and water can be very small? So what do we do to mitigate this? Well, we make some changes. We redesign the profiler, making it fit for purpose. In this circumstance, we put an outer jacket in it so that cooling loop could be put in. Stage 2, we develop an internal system with 0 moving parts that allows the profiler to operate up to 380 degrees F, hot enough for any desalter on the planet. For very low API gravity crudes, which would be very dense crudes, very close to water, we put a dual probe in. We adjust the size of the isotope that we use to ensure that we can get the accuracy that we need, minimizing the effect of just normal variability, so that we can still identify the interface between oil, water, and emulsion. So this was put in, and what it allowed our customer to do was decrease their chemical costs by 30% per year, reduced their shutdowns to 0 as a result of that vessel. No more unscheduled shutdowns. And not only that, as they changed feedstocks, which, as you know, many of our customers will change feedstocks 2 to 3 times a week. As they changed their feedstock, they no longer had to reduce throughput. So we increased their throughput by up to 20,000 barrels per day at these change points. And when you do the math and you understand that many of these refineries are making $6 to $9 per barrel in margin, 20,000 barrels per day is a profound impact on the profitability. But there's more. The utilization of the profiler and giving them an understanding of how to operate that vessel can allow them to maximize which feedstocks they use to save even more money on the front end. So, when you think about the scale of some of these refineries, if we could save a 400,000 barrel per day refinery just 10 cents on their feed up front, we're talking about $40,000 a day in savings. So the return on investment can be profound in these situations.
It's just incredible, man. The numbers you were throwing out there, just about how much we save, like, millions of dollars, chemical savings, not time and effort savings. I mean, it's just what you're describing in your instrumentations that they can do is just profound in a in a plant. It's just amazing. I didn't realize that some of the things that you were talking about, especially the chemical savings issue, that you see it every day in downstream plants where they're always trying to cut costs. That's an area that's pretty expensive in a downstream plant, is chemicals. And if you can cut that cost, you can save, like you said, tens of thousands, even sometimes in case, depending on the process, millions of dollars. That's pretty good, right? It's great value to a customer like that. Pretty interesting, Eric. That was really interesting.
Yeah, some great examples, Eric. I guess one last question before I wrap up for me is, what's the future for SM? Where do we go next? I think we've sort of seen a bit of renewed interest in Europe in the subsea profiler area, but where do you want to go? Where do you think the industry's going next? What do we want to be doing in SM?
There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities. I think for Tracerco, the profiler's been, I guess for lack of a better term, our crown jewel for quite some time. It's been out there. We've listened to our customers. We've heard what our customers want. With Optimus, we have a level instrument that is capable of doing things no other level instrument on the planet can do. So are there other areas? Are there other problems that our customers have that these instruments can provide solutions for? The future of SM lies everywhere. We're no longer bound by oil and gas or petrochem. Let's branch out and see who else we can help.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, thanks, Eric. Do you want to just let everyone know how they can get in touch with you if they have any questions or want any more details?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you can always send me an email at eric.graham@tracerco.com. All my contact information is available on the website in numerous locations, but my direct phone number to my mobile right now is going to be +1 281 660 5242, and I tend to answer that at all hours of day or night. I'm starting to learn to not answer it when I'm on holiday. So, but we definitely, if you have any solution, any problems, we definitely want to provide you with a solution.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Eric. That's been really interesting. And if anyone wants to get in touch with myself or Bill, you can search for us on LinkedIn. Send us any questions you've got. But yeah, thanks for listening to another episode, and we'll be back with Series 3.
Series 3. All right. Yes, like Rob said, folks, appreciate it. Thank you, Eric, for taking the time out to spend some time with Rob and I today. It was very fascinating and interesting. Once again, folks, you want to get a hold of us, you can contact Rob on LinkedIn or myself. Other than that, have a great day.
Thank you, guys.